The mysterious newcomer. The Galactic Council's grand chamber buzzed with tension. Representatives from dozens of alien species filled the circular hall, their eyes fixed on the massive holographic screen at the center. The screen displayed an approaching spacecraft, sleek and unrecognizable. Its design was unlike anything anyone had ever seen, a smooth black surface that seemed to absorb light, pulsing faintly as if alive. "This is the Earth ship?" a tall reptilian counselor asked, his voice laced with skepticism. His orange eyes flickered nervously. "Their technology. It's primitive, isn't it?" "No," replied a smaller, insectoid being, its mandibles clicking. "That vessel defies classification. Its energy readings are impossible. It's as if the ship itself is alive." The room fell silent as the ship drew closer to the council station. It moved with unnerving precision, navigating past defense grids without triggering a single alarm. The council's most advanced scanners couldn't penetrate its surface, leaving the gathered leaders blind to its interior. "How did they get here so quickly?" a gelatinous being asked, its voice a gurgling echo. "Earth is supposed to be in the outer rim, far from civilized space." No one answered. The truth was, no one knew much about Earth. It was a planet long dismissed as insignificant, a world of unremarkable biology and outdated technology. Yet now, here they were, sending a ship to the very heart of the galaxy's most powerful assembly. The holographic screen flickered, and a voice filled the chamber. "This is the Earth envoy vessel," a calm, measured tone announced. It was human, but oddly mechanical, as if filtered through advanced AI. "We request permission to dock." The council leader, an elder with silver skin and glowing eyes, exchanged glances with the other members. "Permission granted," he said, his voice steady but wary. "Proceed to docking Bay 7. The Earth ship complied instantly, its smooth descent captured on the screen. It landed without a sound, its dark surface shimmering as if it were adjusting to the artificial light of the docking bay. A collective sense of unease spread through the council. Minutes later, the chamber doors hissed open, and a single figure stepped inside. The human envoy was a woman, tall and composed, dressed in a simple black suit that seemed almost ceremonial. Her face was calm, her expression unreadable. She carried no weapons, no visible technology, yet her presence was commanding. The room fell silent. "I am Commander Ilara Cross," she said, her voice carrying effortlessly across the chamber. "Representative of Earth and its people." A murmur rippled through the council. She was alone. No guards, no assistants. It was either an act of supreme confidence or reckless foolishness. "Earth has no place here," the reptilian counselor hissed, his tail twitching. "You are not a member of this assembly. Your kind is barely advanced enough to lead your own solar system. How dare you intrude?" Ilara's sharp gaze silenced him. "We did not come here seeking approval," she said calmly. "We came to correct history." The cryptic statement hung in the air, sparking confusion and unease. "Correct history?" the insectoid representative asked, leaning forward. "What do you mean?" Instead of answering, Ilara reached into her suit pocket and withdrew a small device, a smooth silver sphere that glowed faintly. She placed it on the floor in front of her, and the sphere expanded, projecting a massive hologram into the chamber. The hologram showed a star system, its planets and moons rendered in stunning detail. But something was wrong. The central star flickered erratically, as if it were collapsing in on itself. The planets, once vibrant and full of life, were now barren and lifeless. "This," Ilara said, her voice cold, "is the legacy of your council's decisions." The chamber erupted in chaos. Voices clashed, questions and accusations flying across the room. "This is absurd," one counselor shouted. "We've never seen this system before." "Lies," another yelled. "This is a trick." Ilara stood unmoving, letting the uproar continue. Then with a single word, she silenced them all. "Enough." The authority in her voice was undeniable, The counselors fell quiet, their attention drawn back to the hologram. This star system was once home to a thriving civilization, Ilara explained. A species that trusted your council to protect them. Instead, you betrayed them, exploiting their resources until their world collapsed. The council leader's glowing eyes narrowed. You make grave accusations, human. Provide evidence or face the consequences of your slander. Ilara's lips curled into a faint smile. She tapped the device again, and the hologram shifted. Now it displayed detailed records, council communications, resource transfers, and classified orders. The evidence was undeniable. Gasps filled the chamber. Some counselors looked guilty. Others were furious. How? How did you get this information? The insectoid representative demanded. Ilara didn't answer directly. Earth has been watching, she said simply. For a long time. The room plunged into stunned silence. As the tension reached its peak, the hologram changed once more. This time, it showed something that sent chills through the council, Earth's solar system, but not as they had last seen it. It was surrounded by an array of massive structures, shimmering, almost invisible, blocking any attempt at surveillance or attack. We are not here to wage war, Ilara said, her voice steady and unyielding. But understand this, Earth remembers, and we will not allow history to repeat itself. The council leader leaned forward, his silver skin glinting in the chamber's light. What do you want? He asked, his voice low and dangerous. Ilara's eyes met his, unflinching. We want justice. The room fell into a tense, deafening silence as the earthen boy stood firm, her presence shaking the very foundation of the Galactic Council. Cliffhanger. The hologram suddenly went dark, and the silver sphere began to pulse ominously. Ilara's final words echoed through the chamber. You owe us. The enigma of Earth. The silence in the chamber was suffocating. Council members exchanged nervous glances, their usual arrogance stripped away by the humans' unexpected confidence. The silver sphere at Commander Ilara Cross's feet emitted a faint rhythmic hum, as if waiting for something. The council leader, Elder Vorith, stood from his throne-like seat, his silver skin rippling faintly with agitation. Commander Cross, he began carefully, his deep voice resonating in the vast chamber. You have come here uninvited, accused this council of betrayal, and now you demand justice. But justice requires evidence. Your words and a few holograms are not enough. Ilara tilted her head, her expression unreadable. You misunderstand me, Elder Vorith, she replied, her voice calm yet cutting. I'm not here to seek justice. I'm here to deliver it. Her words sent a ripple of unease through the room. The reptilian counselor slammed his clawed hand on the table. You dare threaten the council. You're outnumbered, outclassed, and... Am I? Ilara interrupted, her voice sharper now. She stepped forward, her movements deliberate. You've all made one grave mistake, underestimating humanity. That ends today. The silver sphere reacted to her words, emitting a soft light that bathed the room. The hologram reappeared, but this time it displayed the Galactic Council's most secure files. Classified documents, hidden communications, even footage of clandestine operations. Each piece of evidence was damning, revealing centuries of corruption and exploitation. How? Elder Vorith's voice faltered. How did you acquire this? Ilara's expression remained cold. Earth has evolved in ways you cannot imagine. While you've been squabbling over territories and resources, we've been preparing, watching, learning. The insectoid counselor clicked her mandibles nervously. But your people, your planet, have been isolated for millennia. How could you possibly have access to this information? Ilara didn't answer directly. Instead, she gestured to the hologram, which shifted again. This time, it displayed a map of the galaxy. Dozens of small, glowing dots appeared, scattered across the stars. These, Ilara said, her voice steady, are Earth's observation posts. Hidden in the shadows of your own systems, For centuries, we've monitored your actions, your decisions, and your failures. The council chamber erupted into chaos. This is impossible. They're lying. No one could evade our censors. Ilara let them argue, her expression unchanging. Then she raised her hand, and the hologram zoomed in on one of the glowing dots, a seemingly uninhabited asteroid orbiting a council-controlled planet. The image dissolved, revealing a hidden Earth outpost cloaked in advanced technology. The truth, Ilara said, her voice cutting through the noise, is that Earth has been far more advanced than you ever imagined. We chose to remain hidden, to focus on our own survival while you squandered your power. Elder Voreth's composure cracked. His glowing eyes narrowed as he leaned forward. You claim superiority, but this council has maintained peace across the galaxy for millennia. What gives you the right to judge us? Ilara's gaze hardened. Peace, she repeated, her tone dripping with disdain. You call forced labor, resource theft, and the destruction of entire species peace. Your so-called unity is built on oppression, and you know it. The chamber fell silent again, the weight of her words settling over the council. Some members looked away, guilt evident in their expressions. Others bristled with defiance. The reptilian counselor sneered. Even if what you say is true, what do you expect us to do? Surrender. Hand over our authority to a backwater species like yours. Ilara didn't flinch. No, she said simply. Earth has no interest in ruling the galaxy. We came here to give you a choice. Reform or face the consequences. The tension in the room was palpable. Suddenly, the chamber's lights flickered, and an alarm blared. A holographic display on the far wall activated, showing the council's security fleet stationed outside the station. Unidentified vessels detected, a panicked voice announced. They've just appeared out of nowhere. The display zoomed in, revealing a fleet of Earth ships. Sleek and menacing, they floated silently, their black surfaces shimmering with an otherworldly energy. Elder Voreth's voice was sharp. Explain this, Commander. Ilara's calm demeanor never wavered. Those ships are a demonstration, she said. They carry no weapons, only the power to neutralize yours. We've come in peace, but we will not tolerate aggression. One of the Council's ships moved to intercept the Earth fleet, charging its weapons. Before it could fire, an Earth ship emitted a pulse of light. The Council ship froze in place, its systems completely disabled. Gasps filled the chamber. What have you done? The gelatinous counselor demanded, his voice trembling. Nothing permanent, Ilara replied. Your ship's crew is unharmed. But now you understand that your weapons are useless against us. Elder Voreth's face was grim. If you've come in peace as you claim, then why bring a fleet? Why disable our ship? Ilara stepped forward, her voice unwavering. Because peace without strength is meaningless. Earth has no desire for war, but we will defend ourselves if provoked. This council must decide, will you continue down this path of corruption, or will you stand with us to create a better future? The room was silent, the council members too stunned to respond. Ilara glanced at the silver sphere, which pulsed one final time before dimming. We'll be watching, she said, her tone a quiet warning. Choose wisely. With that, she turned and walked out of the chamber, leaving the council to grapple with the weight of her words and the shadow of Earth's newfound power. Cliffhanger. As the doors closed behind her, a hidden transmission intercepted by the Earth fleet revealed a chilling plan. A faction within the council was already preparing to strike back. Earth's forgotten legacy. The council chamber was still, the tension so thick it felt like the walls themselves were holding their breath. Commander Ilara Cross had left, but her words lingered, echoing in the minds of every council member. The silver sphere she had used remained on the chamber floor, inert but ominous, as if waiting for its next command. Elder Voreth broke the silence. We cannot let this stand, he said, his glowing eyes narrowing. Earth dares to challenge the foundation of this council. They must be dealt with before they destabilize the galaxy. But how? Asked the insectoid counselor, her mandibles clicking nervously. Their ships outmatch ours. Their technology is beyond our understanding. And she hesitated, lowering her voice. What if they're right? What if we are to blame for the destruction they showed us? A ripple of unease spread through the chamber. Some counselors shifted uncomfortably, while others avoided meeting each other's eyes. Suddenly, the silver sphere reactivated, its surface glowing faintly as it projected another hologram. This time, it wasn't a map or documents, but a scene from the past. A council meeting, centuries ago. The counselors watched in stunned silence as the hologram displayed their predecessors, gathered in the same chamber, discussing a species known as Homo sapiens. They are too unpredictable, said one of the holographic counselors, a being with crystalline skin. Humans cannot be trusted with advanced technology. Their capacity for destruction is unparalleled. Another counselor, a gelatinous figure similar to the one present, nodded. Then it settled. We will isolate their planet, strip them of their interstellar capabilities, and erase all records of their involvement in galactic affairs. The insectoid counselor in the present gasped. Is this real? She whispered. Elder Voreth clenched his fists. This is Earth's manipulation, a fabrication to sow discord. But the hologram continued, showing another scene. Humans, their faces weary but determined, standing amidst the ruins of a devastated colony. Above them, council ships loomed, their weapons firing. The image shifted to Earth itself, surrounded by a mysterious energy field, cutting it off from the galaxy. What have we done? Murmured the amphibious counselor, his skin pale with shock. Ilara's voice suddenly echoed from the silver sphere, as if she had anticipated their reaction. You erased our past, she said, her tone calm but laced with steel. You feared what we could become, so you condemned us to isolation. But humanity is resilient. You failed to destroy us, and now we've returned. The council erupted in chaos. This is a lie. We would never commit such atrocities. If this is true, we have blood on our hands. Elder Voreth slammed his hand on the table, his glowing eyes blazing. Enough. We cannot afford to fracture. If we are to survive this threat, we must unite. Survive. The insectoid counselor shot back, her voice sharp. Is that all this council cares about? What if humanity seeks only justice as they claim? What if they're not the enemy? Voreth leaned closer to her, his voice a low growl. Justice is just a prelude to conquest. They've already shown their power. Do you think they will stop there? Meanwhile, deep within the council's space station, hidden operatives were mobilizing. Voreth had anticipated the possibility of Earth revealing its secrets and had prepared a contingency plan. A shadowy figure, cloaked in holographic distortion, entered a secured communications room. Activate Protocol Obsidian. Voreth's voice commanded over the encrypted channel. The figure hesitated. But sir, if we use Obsidian, it could destabilize the entire sector. Voreth's tone was cold. Destabilize it. If we cannot control the galaxy, no one will. The operative nodded and began inputting commands into the console. Back in the chamber, the silver sphere suddenly emitted a series of warning tones. The hologram shifted again, this time displaying a fleet of council warships moving into formation near Earth's solar system. What is this? The amphibious counselor demanded, his voice rising. Voreth's expression darkened. A precaution, he said. If Earth refuses to back down, we must be ready to strike. The insectoid counselor's mandibles clicked furiously. You've already made that decision without consulting the rest of us. Have you learned nothing from what we've seen today? Voreth didn't answer. Instead, he turned his attention back to the sphere. Earth must understand its place. If they resist, we will remind them why the Council has ruled for millennia. As the Council argued, a new hologram appeared, startling everyone. This one showed Earth, not as it was now, but as it had been during the Council's betrayal. The image focused on a single human figure standing in the ruins of a destroyed city. The figure raised their head, their gaze piercing despite the holographic distance. They spoke, their voice filled with both pain and determination. "You may break us, but you will never erase us. We are humanity, and we will rise again." The hologram dissolved, leaving the council chamber in silence once more. Cliffhanger. A deep, rumbling sound echoed through the station. The council's communication systems lit up with an emergency alert. Warning. Anomalous energy signature detected. Source: Earth Fleet. Elder Voreth's face twisted with anger as he barked orders. "Prepare for defense." But before anyone could act, the silver sphere spoke one final time, its voice calm and deliberate. "You were warned." The station shook violently as the energy signature surged, and the council realized they had underestimated Earth. Again. Earth's superior technology. The Galactic Council's space station trembled under the weight of an invisible force. The emergency lights flickered red, casting jagged shadows across the chamber walls. Counselors scrambled for answers, their calm, authoritative facade cracking under pressure. "What is happening?" The amphibious counselor croaked, his voice high-pitched with fear. "Our shields are at maximum. No weapon could penetrate." "This is not an attack," the insectoid counselor interrupted, her mandibles clicking rapidly. "It's something else, something we cannot detect." The silver sphere in the center of the chamber activated again, flooding the room with pale blue light. A hologram appeared, showing Commander Ilara Cross aboard her ship. Unlike her earlier calm demeanor, her expression now carried a quiet intensity. "Council members," Ilara said, her voice firm but measured. "This is a demonstration of what humanity has become. You will not understand it, and you cannot control it. But you can choose how you respond." Elder Voreth rose from his seat, his glowing eyes narrowing. "You call this a demonstration? You're destabilizing our station. You've proven yourselves to be nothing but aggressors." Ilara's expression didn't change. "Your station is unharmed. The force you feel is a gravitational dampener, technology that allows us to manipulate the fabric of space. It's the same technology we use to move entire fleets across the galaxy without detection." The counselors exchanged uneasy glances. Gravitational manipulation was considered theoretical, even among the galaxy's most advanced species. If humanity had perfected it, they were operating on a level far beyond the Council's comprehension. One of the counselors, a crystalline being whose voice resonated like wind chimes, stood cautiously. "Why do you show us this, Commander? If your technology is so advanced, why not simply take control? Why offer us a choice?" Ilara's hologram tilted her head slightly. "Because control is not our goal. Earth has no interest in conquest, but we will not tolerate a galaxy ruled by corruption, oppression, and lies." Her words struck a nerve. The insectoid counselor, who had grown increasingly uneasy, finally spoke. "What do you want from us, Commander Cross? What is Earth's true purpose here?" Ilara's expression softened, just enough to show the faintest trace of humanity. "We want to rewrite the rules. To build a galaxy where no species is silenced, no planet exploited. We want to end the tyranny of fear that this council has perpetuated for centuries." The chamber fell silent, but the tension remained. Elder Voreth broke the quiet, his voice laced with disdain. "And we're simply supposed to believe that humanity has suddenly become a selfless savior. Your species has been absent for millennia. Yet now you presume to dictate terms to us." Ilara's hologram flickered for a moment, then shifted. The image of her ship's bridge appeared, revealing a transparent wall displaying a view of the Earth fleet. Behind her, council warships loomed, their weapon systems glowing faintly. "Let me be clear," Ilara said, turning slightly to gesture at the scene behind her. "We have the means to neutralize every ship in your fleet without firing a single shot. Watch." She raised her hand, and a faint pulse of energy radiated from her ship. The Council's fleet immediately froze, their systems shutting down in perfect synchronization. The ships floated, powerless, like leaves on a still pond. The insectoid counselor gasped. "What have you done?" "We disabled their offensive systems," Ilara replied calmly. "Your crews are unharmed, your ships intact, but they are now at our mercy." The council chamber erupted in chaos. "This is an act of war. They've left us defenseless. Why didn't our systems detect this?" Ilara's hologram waited, unmoving, until the shouting subsided. "You call this war," she said quietly, "but humanity calls it restraint. If Earth wanted to destroy you, we would have already done so. Instead, we offer you the chance to end this peacefully." Elder Vorith's face darkened, his glowing eyes blazing with anger. "Your restraint is nothing but arrogance. You think you can waltz into this chamber, flaunt your power, and expect us to kneel. You underestimate the resolve of this council." Ilara's gaze sharpened. "And you underestimate humanity's patience." At that moment, the hologram shifted again, this time displaying a live feed from a planet within council territory. A desolate wasteland stretched across the screen, once a thriving colony, now reduced to ashes. "This," Ilara said, her voice colder now, "is one of the countless worlds you've destroyed in your pursuit of power. The species that called it home no longer exists because of your council's greed." The insectoid counselor flinched. "We didn't know." "You didn't care," Ilara interrupted. "But we do. Humanity was forged in struggle, born into a galaxy that tried to erase us. We will not stand by while others suffer the same fate." As her words settled over the chamber, the silver sphere emitted a soft chime. A new hologram appeared, showing a fleet of ships from various species, small, scrappy vessels that bore no allegiance to the council. "These are the allies you didn't know we had," Ilara said. "Species you oppressed, colonies you abandoned, civilizations you underestimated. They stand with Earth now, united by a shared vision of a better galaxy." The counselors stared at the screen in stunned silence. Cliffhanger. Elder Vorith's communicator buzzed. A message flashed across his private console. "Emergency alert. Unidentified energy surge detected near the council's core systems. Possible Earth infiltration." Vorith's eyes widened as he realized the implications. "What have you done?" he demanded, his voice trembling with rage. Ilara's hologram faded, her final words echoing through the chamber. "We gave you a choice. Your actions will decide what happens next." The chamber plunged into darkness as the council scrambled to respond, knowing full well they had no idea what Earth would do next. The Galactic betrayal. The Galactic Council's station was in chaos. Emergency lights bathed the corridors in a crimson glow as automated alerts echoed throughout the vast structure. Elder Vorith stood at the center of the council chamber, his glowing eyes darting between flickering holographic screens. Reports flooded in. Energy surges in critical systems, rogue signals disrupting communications, and Earth's fleet looming just outside the station's perimeter, silent but menacing. "This is an act of war," Vorith roared, slamming his fist on the table. "They think they can hold us hostage with their technology. We will show them the strength of the council." The insectoid counselor, trembling in her seat, raised her voice. "Strength? Elder Vorith, our fleets are disabled, our systems compromised, and our allies." She hesitated, glancing at the hologram showing a growing list of species defecting to Earth's side. "Our allies are abandoning us. Perhaps it's time we admit that we failed." "Failed?" Vorith spat, his silver skin rippling with anger. "This council has held the galaxy together for millennia. Without us, chaos will reign. Earth seeks to dismantle all we've built. Do you think they'll stop at justice? They want control." A crystalline counselor, their voice a resonant hum, interjected. "And if they do, perhaps they've earned it. We buried their civilization, erased their history, and exploited their resources. Now they've returned stronger than ever, while we cling to a broken legacy." As the council argued, The silver sphere on the chamber floor flickered back to life. A hologram of Commander Ilara Cross appeared once more, her image calm yet commanding. "I see you're still debating your morality," Ilara said, her voice cutting through the noise. Typical of a council that thrives on indecision. Voreth's gaze burned into the hologram. "What do you want, Commander? You've shown your power, humiliated this council, and destabilized our fleets. If you have demands, make them now." Ilara's expression hardened. "We already told you what we want. Justice. But justice isn't a demand, it's a reckoning." The hologram shifted, revealing a live feed from the Council's most secure archive, a vault deep within the station that supposedly contained records of every decision the Council had made throughout its history. The feed showed a group of human operatives, clad in sleek black suits, moving through the vault with ease. "Impossible," Voreth hissed. "Our archives are impenetrable." Ilara's voice was cold. "Not to us." The humans in the feed reached the heart of the archive, a massive crystalline structure glowing with ancient energy. One of the operatives placed a small device on its surface, and the crystal began to fracture. "These are the truths you've hidden for centuries," Ilara explained. "The lies that built your empire, the species you enslaved, the worlds you destroyed, all of it will be exposed." "No," Voreth shouted, his voice trembling with rage. "If you release those records, it will destabilize the entire galaxy. There will be revolts, wars, millions will die." Ilara's gaze remained steady. "The truth often demands sacrifice. But isn't that what this council has always claimed to stand for?" The insectoid counselor spoke up, her voice shaking. "Commander Cross, if you destroy the council, what will replace it? Do you truly believe Earth can leave the galaxy into peace?" Ilara tilted her head. "We don't seek to lead. Our purpose is to dismantle the structures of oppression you've created, so the galaxy can decide its own future. We've already shared our technology with dozens of species. They will no longer need to bow to your authority, or ours." The chamber fell silent, the weight of her words sinking in. Suddenly, an alert blared through the station. A new fleet had entered the sector. Dozens of Council-aligned ships from distant systems, their weapons powered and targeting Earth's fleet. Voreth's face twisted into a triumphant sneer. "You see," he said, his voice dripping with arrogance, "the galaxy will not stand with you, Commander. They see you for the threat you truly are." But Ilara didn't react. Instead, she gestured, and the hologram shifted again. The feed now showed the incoming fleet from Earth's perspective. As the Council's ships prepared to fire, Earth's fleet emitted a low-frequency pulse. One by one, the Council's reinforcements went dark, their ships rendered powerless. "Your fleets are loyal to fear," Ilara said, her tone unyielding. "But fear is a fragile foundation. Those who have joined us do so willingly, not because of our strength, but because of our vision." Voreth's confidence faltered. "And what happens if we refuse your vision? What if we fight until the last ship, the last soldier?" Ilara's hologram leaned forward slightly, her gaze piercing. "Then Earth will do what humanity has always done. Survive. And we will ensure that those who come after us never repeat your mistakes." Cliffhanger. The hologram disappeared, and the silver sphere emitted one final pulse before deactivating entirely. The chamber was plunged into silence, save for the distant hum of the station's damaged systems. Voreth turned to his console, where a new message flashed on the screen. "Core system, override INITI, station stability, compromised. Evacuation recommended." As the counselors stared in disbelief, the station began to tremble. Ilara's voice echoed through the chamber, disembodied but resolute. "Your time is up. Choose wisely. There may not be another chance." The counselors scrambled to respond as the station's systems faltered, Earth's silent fleet standing as a stark reminder of their new reality. The test of humanity. The Galactic Council's once mighty station groaned under the strain of Earth's interference. The walls, once pristine and shimmering with the technology of 1,000 civilizations, now flickered like a dying star. Systems that had long been untouchable were now unstable, and every attempt to restore order seemed futile. The counselors, their pride shattered and their strength in question, stood at the precipice of their own demise. The council chamber, usually a place of grandeur and command, now felt like a battlefield, each counselor locked in their own fear and confusion. Elder Voreth, his skin flickering in the dimmed light, clenched his fists as he faced the screens showing the Earth fleet, still holding steady outside the station. He had once prided himself on the Council's invincibility. Now that same invincibility was crumbling, piece by piece. "We cannot allow this to continue," Voreth muttered, his voice hoarse. He turned to the counselors, desperation creeping into his tone. "We must retaliate. We must fight back before they claim everything we've built." But as his words hung in the air, they felt hollow. The insectoid counselor, her mandibles shaking, spoke up, her voice quiet but firm. "Fighting back will not undo the damage we've done. We were warned over and over again. And now Earth is here, not just to challenge us, but to expose everything we've hidden for centuries." The amphibious counselor nodded solemnly. "Our time of dominance is ending. If we choose to fight, we risk the annihilation of everything we've built. If we surrender, we risk losing our place in the galaxy." A voice broke through the tension, a cold, calm voice that resonated in every corner of the chamber. "The time for fighting is over, Elder Voreth." It was Commander Ilara. Her hologram flickered to life in the center of the chamber, but this time, there was no defiance in her eyes, only certainty. "You've missiled the galaxy for too long," Ilara continued. "You've spread your influence through fear, secrecy, and violence. But the galaxy is waking up, and Earth is here to make sure it stays awake." The council members shifted uncomfortably, their bodies tense with a mix of fear and outrage. This was no longer about technology or fleets. This was about the collapse of an empire that had once stood unchallenged, and Earth's role in ensuring its demise. "You are wrong," Voreth spat, his voice full of venom. "You think you can replace us. Bring your so-called justice to this galaxy. What do you think will happen when the power vacuum you create leaves the galaxy in chaos? War will consume us all." Ilara's image remained calm, unshaken by his fury. "What you call chaos, we call freedom. For millennia, the galaxy has been shackled by your rule. The fear you use to control this galaxy is the same fear that will undo you." The room fell silent again, but this time, there was no denying the truth of her words. The council, once a symbol of unity and peace, had become a symbol of oppression, and Earth's message was clear: no more. Suddenly, the station shook violently. For a moment, it felt like an explosion, but no impact followed. The systems flickered again, then stabilized. Only this time, the council's power seemed to drain, leaving them in a darkened, almost powerless state. The lights dimmed even further, and the once constant hum of the station's systems grew quiet. "What's happening?" the crystalline counselor asked, his voice trembling. How is this possible?" Ilara's voice echoed across the chamber, her words simple but chilling. "You're feeling it now, aren't you? The feeling of being powerless. Your own systems, your own technologies, are now under our control. The Earth fleet didn't fire a single shot. We've only neutralized your ability to fight back." Voreth's face turned ashen. "This is impossible. How did you do this?" Ilara didn't reply directly. Instead, she let the answer sit in the air, heavy and undeniable. It was not just technology that Earth had mastered. It was the control of systems, energy fields, and networks that no one had believed possible. "You see," Ilara continued, "your reign was never about strength. It was about control, about keeping the galaxy in a constant state of fear and dependence. But humanity is different. We don't rely on fear. We rely on something stronger: hope." One of the counselors, a former ally of Voreth, spoke up, his voice filled with regret. "You're right, Commander. We have exploited those we promised to protect. We believed that the galaxy's peace was worth any cost. But in doing so, we became tyrants." Ilara looked at him, her gaze not one of judgment but understanding. "You can still change, but only if you are willing to see the truth of what you've done. Your war machines are disabled. Your systems are in our hands. But you still have a choice: reform or face the consequences." For a long moment, the chamber was silent, the weight of her words settling on every counselor. There was no easy answer. The council had built its empire on the suffering of others, and now it was being torn apart by the very species it had sought to control. "Do we have a chance at redemption?" the crystalline counselor asked quietly. "Or is Earth's wrath too much for us to bear?" Ilara's hologram shifted, her gaze softening slightly. "That depends on you. Humanity's strength doesn't lie in the power to destroy. It lies in the courage to rebuild. The galaxy needs something different now, and it starts with the Council's willingness to change." Cliffhanger. As Ilara finished speaking, an alarm blared throughout the station. A new transmission flashed on the Council's main screen. "Emergency protocol initiated. Galactic reformation movement confirmed. All systems now linked to Earth's network." The Council members watched in shock as the transmission continued, showing dozens of previously independent systems and species now aligning with Earth. The rebellion was no longer just an idea. It was becoming a galaxy-wide movement. The Council's last chance for control was slipping away. Elder Vorith's face twisted with desperation. "It's over then," he muttered. "We've lost." But Ilara's final words rang out, carrying more weight than ever. "Not lost. Transformed." As the chamber lights flickered one last time, the fate of the Council and the galaxy hung in the balance. A new galactic era. The station had never felt more silent. Elder Vorith stood motionless in the center of the Council chamber, his once imposing presence now diminished. Around him, the remaining counselors were scattered, lost in their thoughts, as the weight of their decisions pressed down on them. The station, once the heart of galactic power, was now a crumbling symbol of a forgotten era. Earth's quiet dominance had shattered the Council's centuries-long reign. The emergency alert still flashed across the screens, now showing the spread of Earth's influence across the galaxy. Dozens of species, former subjects of the Council, had pledged allegiance to the Earth-led Reformation movement. Entire fleets were disbanding, their commanders siding with Earth's vision of peace and cooperation. The Council's systems, once a web of control, now lay in Earth's hands, powerless and disconnected. Ilara's message from the previous day still resonated in the chamber: reform or face the consequences. Voreth's glowing eyes narrowed as he stared at the flickering map of the galaxy. "We are no longer the architects of this galaxy's future," he muttered bitterly. "We were once the rulers of a united galaxy, but now we are relics of a time that has passed." The insectoid counselor, her body trembling, finally spoke. "But perhaps it is time. Time to acknowledge that this galaxy no longer belongs to us. Maybe it never did." Another counselor, a gasping, gas-filled entity, nodded. "We have been blind. The power we sought to hold over others was never meant to last. It was built on lies, on exploitation. The galaxy is waking up, and perhaps we should wake up with it." There was a collective sigh, and the truth in their words began to sink in. The Council's reign was over, but in that loss, there was something else, an opportunity. An opportunity to rebuild what had been destroyed, to create a new order, one not based on power or fear, but on unity, equity, and respect. Ilara's hologram flickered to life again, appearing before them once more, but this time, there was no defiance in her eyes, only a quiet understanding. "Elder Vorith, counselors," Ilara began, her voice steady and filled with resolve. "This is your last chance to make things right. The galaxy no longer trusts you, but it is not too late to change. If you're willing to step aside, to let new leadership emerge, We can work together to heal the galaxy." A pause followed as the counselors exchanged glances. A few of them were hesitant, but the majority seemed to understand. Their time had passed. The structures they had built were crumbling, and it was now time for something new, something more humane. Voreth looked at the others. His anger faded into resignation. "We've built an empire that was meant to last forever," he said softly. "But maybe the real strength was never in our power. Maybe it was in our ability to adapt, to change." The crystalline counselor stepped forward. "If we allow Earth to take the reins, it may be the only way for us to regain the trust of the galaxy. But that doesn't mean we are giving up our place. We can help shape this new era." Ilara nodded, a slight smile touching her lips. "That is exactly what I want. Humanity doesn't seek to dominate. We seek cooperation, collaboration. We want to help those who've suffered under your rule. Together, we can build a galaxy where all species are equal, where no one is oppressed. But you must choose. Do you want to be part of that vision, or do you want to remain in the past?" There was a long silence as the counselors deliberated. It was a pivotal moment, not just for them, but for the future of the entire galaxy. The last vestiges of their old pride began to crumble, replaced by the realization that they could either fade into obscurity or become a force for positive change. "I agree," the amphibious counselor said at last, his voice thick with emotion. "The galaxy needs something different now. I want to be part of that change." The insectoid counselor nodded, her mandibles clicking in agreement. "We've spent too long serving our own interests. It's time to serve the greater good." Voreth's voice broke through the silence. "Then we will step aside. We will surrender the reins of the galaxy to Earth. But we will not walk away completely. We will be the ones to ensure that the mistakes of the past are never repeated. We will be the guardians of the new order." The moment they spoke those words, the holographic screen displayed a series of images, ships, colonies, and planets, now coming together under a unified banner. Earth's influence was spreading, not by force, but through alliances built on mutual respect and shared goals. The Reformation movement had already begun, and the galaxy's inhabitants were slowly but surely embracing the change. "This is only the beginning," Ilara said. "A new era has begun, and with it, a galaxy that no longer fears its leaders but trusts them. You've made the right choice." As the hologram faded, the council chamber was bathed in light, not from the artificial systems of the station, but from the collective hope and unity of the galaxy's future. Cliffhanger. Suddenly, the silence was broken by a new transmission that caused every counselor to freeze. The screen flickered to life, showing the new message: "We've been watching. The galaxy's change is inevitable, and we have our eyes on you, Earth." The message was not from the council. It was from an unknown source, one that seemed to be watching Earth's every move. It was a warning. A new player had entered the field, and Earth's revolution was far from over.